Oh my gosh. So I am Sandy McAlpine. I am a North Carolina licensed broker in Lake Norman. I've lived here over 25 years. I've been a broker for 19. I've been in real estate though, like my whole life since I was in diapers. But anyway, this is funny. I wanted to make a little silly post about 5 reasons not to move to Lake Norman. There really isn't anything I don't like about Lake Norman, but sometimes people might complain a little bit about the traffic. Might complain a little bit about the traffic. There's a lot of traffic. Everyone wants to live here, so they're just coming in, coming. I think the Charlotte area was number one destination according to Zillow for 2022 and 2023, or it's been in the top 10 this whole time. And people don't want to live in the middle of the city, so they come to Lake Norman because they're like, oh look, this is a beautiful lake. I want to live here too. So tons of people have come. They haven't built schools fast enough. The schools are a little crowded. I'm not gonna lie. You got to look up the stats on your own. I'm not supposed to direct you to any one school or the other, but you need to look at stats for the schools. You need to look at demographics for like how many people live in a city, because it is a little crowded in some areas of Lake Norman. I mean, if everybody wants to be in one location, there is absolutely a reason, right? So couple things that I have a hard time with in Lake Norman. There's just really not enough restaurants on the lake, right? So love going on the lake. I love boating. I love jet skiing, but there are literally like 6 restaurants or something. So you have limited choices. They're all really far apart, and they're usually crowded and busy and packed. So that would be one of the cons that I have to deal with on a regular basis. So if you know that you're going to eat at a restaurant, you have to like get there really so early, and you got to get your boat spot. There's not a lot of dock spaces. Another reason not to move to Lake Norman, listen, it's not cheap. If you're on a budget, Lake Norman might not be the place that you buy a home, because you're not going to get as much home for your money as some of the other cities surrounding Charlotte. The price per square foot is insanely high at the moment because of, we just went through COVID and houses were flying off the shelves. Another reason not to move to Lake Norman, well, if you don't like boating and you don't like water, or if you don't like living next to a nuclear facility, yes, there is a nuclear power plant in Huntersville on the lake. So if you don't like living next to that, I wouldn't move to Lake Norman. Most people don't have a problem with it. They hand you some iodine pills to the surrounding communities, or you can get some if you feel like you might be exposed one day to radiation. But I had never worried about that the whole time I've lived here. My husband's born and raised from Lake Norman, and he's lived here his whole life, and he's 47. So he hasn't had a problem with living next to a nuclear reactor. But it does give us all the power for the area, for the Piedmont region of North Carolina, and the lake also provides water for the Piedmont region. So if you have any questions about moving to Lake Norman, or why you wouldn't want to move to Lake Norman, there's a lot of stuff on Google that you can find. Some of it's not really real. There's a lot of like ups and downs about coal ash and what they do with it and whether or not it causes cancer. There really isn't any definite anything that they have proven. So a lot of those articles are clickbait. If you read through the article, they really don't explain anything. The best thing to do is hire a real estate agent like myself, who's lived here in this area for a long time. I own many properties in this area. And if you want my 2 cents about any subject about moving here, I will always shoot you straight and give you the direct pros and cons of what I like and don't like, and let you make your own decision for yourself when you get here.